Okay, we want to give thanks to God for this great opportunity that we have to have Pastor Turner Jerry with us. For us, it's a great privilege. We are going to start. I am Pascal, as we already introduced ourselves, Sister Marcia and Brother Marcio. Also, it's very similar name. And we would like to speak a little bit more about the ministry, about your trip, and as you like so much youth, so we are going to speak a little bit about the youth of restoration ministry. But first of all, I would like you to say some word. I mean, to greet our brethren, so by introducing yourself, very simple, at the very beginning.
I'm Pastor Jerry Turner, and I have been so happy to be here at Restoration Church with Pastor Umberto and his staff and the church. It has been a great experience for me, and truly I am the one that has been blessed to be with you. I appreciate this team that's worked so hard to help me to translate and help me enjoy the services. Otherwise, I would not have been able to understand what was being said. But through your great efforts, each one of you, Brother Marshall, Brother Pascal, and Sister Marcia, I thank you very much for your service to me. You truly have servants' hearts because it's hard work.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, all the pleasure is ours. So we are all servants of God, and we try always to serve God with the talent that He has given to us. So as we know, Pastor, it's not your first time to Brazil, and you have been here for several times, and especially we would like to know a little bit more about your trip, especially for that time. And I know that maybe it is your first time also in Porto Alegre. So, what is your impression about the city of Porto Alegre, and also something about your trip from Brazil? Yeah.
If we would speak of all my trips, one thing that I have told everyone that's asked me, and several people have asked me, Pastor Turner, what do you really like about Brazil? And I would say to them, I like the people. And they say, oh, no, what food do you like? What do you like best? Do you like the food? Do you like the way we have church, or different things? And I always tell them, just like I will tell you, I love the people. I really love the people of Brazil. They are so wonderful. Everyone's so kind and so friendly. And I do enjoy the food. My wife warned me when I left not to come back overweight and not to gain extra weight. And so I'm probably in trouble when I get home, because I tell you, people like to feed me, and I like food, so we just have a wonderful time. But back to a more serious note, if you would like for me to go ahead and address the church and different sections of the church and age groups, I am tremendously impressed with the work Restoration Church is doing. I have traveled in several countries, even behind the Iron Curtain back years ago, and I've never seen a work more organized and disciplined than this work. Pastor Umberto is probably the greatest organizer, church organizer, and such a great person. I cannot help but give much credit to him. He's such a kind person. He won't pass a child without speaking to that child hardly, as much as possible. To me, I watch that and how he speaks to each of you. He is truly a great person, and he's the kind of person I like to model my life after. But maybe I'm being too lengthy here. I love children. I have 10 grandchildren. I have a beautiful wife. Her name is Sister Elaine. She has been my helpmate for some 46 years, and we have pastored the same church for 41 years. We have 3 children. We have 10 grandchildren, all serving God, living for God in our church back in Alabama, in the United States. I have a wonderful family. As I said, I love children. So these children here are so precious. They're so disciplined and well behaved, and I believe in all of that. And I'm just totally impressed. And then we move up to the teenagers. These teens, this youth today in today's world has more temptation, more battles than we probably dream. There's so much technology. The world's in their hand. Yes. When I was a child, of course, there was temptation and trials and so forth. But in this world today, there's so much peer pressure, and a lot of it's been brought on because of social media, if this is okay for me to address. It's been brought on. There's a tremendous amount of bullying that goes on and peer pressure that takes place in social media. And for the record, I'm strongly against it. And but anyway, our children, if they have these phones, they have so much. They can see anything, good or bad. And so our youth has such a battle. And this week, I've had a great burden. I don't know exactly why. But, it's not my place to question God why. He spoke to me. He spoke to the pastor to invite me. And the Lord spoke to me after much struggling. And I was finding excuses not to come. I had a lot of things at home I needed to be doing. But the Lord spoke directly to me and told me to come to Port Alegre. Now, if you'd like, I'll address the city a bit. I am really overwhelmed. I'm a country boy, and I'm really overwhelmed by the city. But as I travel across the city, and Brother Pastor has carried me around and showed me the city, it's a beautiful city. There's many beautiful things about it. But we chose not to go and look at the beautiful sceneries so much. We saw it in passing. But instead, we took a trip to the prison, and we was thoroughly impressed. This is the greatest church work I have ever known inside of a prison. And I was truly impressed and blessed to be a part. Today we were able to visit one of your schools. I was totally touched by these children. A famous psychologist, Christian psychologist in America, I was listening to one of his programs a good while back. He is very highly qualified, probably one of the top authorities on children's behavior and so forth. Dr. Dobson's program, this particular time, he asked the question. He asked, what is the most important formative year of a child's life? I immediately thought, 4, 5, 6 years old. He answered. He said, no. He said the most important year to impress upon a child and work in that child's life is from 6 months old to 18 months old. That really jarred me, because you just can't hardly start too early teaching and training a child. The Bible said, train up a child in the way that child should go. If you study that, that means in the gate of his youth. And so I love children, and I love what's happening in the schools. I went to the prison yesterday. I went to a school of young age children today. What a contrast. If we can put more of these children into this type of environment, we can keep more out of the jails.
Yeah.
And now I am disappointed in America. I'm disappointed in Brazil over the fact that these prisons are so overcrowded. It's the same problem everywhere, and I realize it's a problem that it's an economic problem, I'm sure. But anyway, back to the church.
Yeah.
You didn't ask me to preach, so just tell me to stop anytime you want to.
You are free, Pastor. You are here to hear.
I have a heart for the little children. I have a heart for the teens, and I have a heart for all the others. I love elderly folks. I respect age. I had the opportunity, the wonderful opportunity of visiting and having a meal with the pastor's mother last evening. It was a joy and a blessing to me to walk into her home and immediately feel the presence of God. I felt the presence of God there. And I have been so blessed here in this church because in every service, the presence of the Lord has been so real. We have what this world is searching for. I realize that Brazil is the home. I read the news. I hear the news. I don't have a television. I don't watch television. But I read on my phone. I read the news sometimes. And I realize Brazil is very famous for models, movie stars, etc., soccer stars. But I was not interested in seeing any of that while I was here. I'm more interested in eternal values.
Yeah.
And as the missionary conference has been so much about being focused, I more than ever have realized this week we need principles, we need values, and we must stay focused. And may God help us all to do that. And I am praying for this church. This church has found a place in my heart that will never die as long as I live. I'll have a place in my heart for you, all of you, and the church.
Hallelujah. Glory to the Lord. Hallelujah.
Well, I guess you've answered all of my questions already.
I want to ask you, Pastor, especially regarding the worship services. What was your impression there, the movement? I know you have spoken about this, but could you give some further details?
We're speaking about people worshiping the Lord. It's exactly the way we worship. We believe we're Pentecostal people, and if we ever lose that thrust or that goal of being Pentecostal, or that aspect is a better word, if we lose that aspect, we've lost our right to be a Pentecostal holiness church. We're called to be separated. We're called to be different. The Lord spoke of us. God spoke of us, or in His Word, God's Word, we're spoke of as being peculiar people, strange, different. But the Spirit of God is what makes a difference in our service. And yes, I think we should respond to it. The Holy Ghost is gentle as a dove. And if we don't make Him welcome in our services, He will not be there. And so when we worship Him, it's nothing more than just an outward expression of adoration and an outward expression of love. And the Bible speaks about, magnify Him, my soul, and so that's what we're doing. We're just magnifying Him. And yes, for the church, I commend the church. You're well taught, and you're just well led here. You're well led. You're all wonderful disciples, and you're discipling others. So you're fulfilling the Bible as well as any church I've ever seen.
Hallelujah.
So, Pastor, I know that you already maybe addressed many things, but we would like to know more about, especially about your impressions about the conference. I mean, the conference and the convention that we have that happened this week. What is your impressions exactly about the convention during these days that you have been here in the restoration ministry, about the missions that you saw, about the purpose of restoration ministry. So what is your impressions about all that?
As I've already said, I am impressed with the leadership.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with the delegation.
Yeah.
I'm impressed with the total organization. And I pray that God will send the financial means for this church to carry out the Great Commission even more. And the infrastructure looks wonderful to me. As I've said, it's so well laid out, and you're growing fast. And all we need now, it appears to me, is backing up just a little bit. I thoroughly enjoyed the teaching. Your teachers did a great job of explaining themselves with their projections.
Yeah.
And their lectures.
Yeah.
It was all so well thought out and well said. It really, I learned a lot. And I've been pastoring 41 years. And I learned some amazing things this week that I intend to go home in our small church and implement. I believe that what I received in these sessions will help us in our church to grow and be discipled. So I'm just really impressed with the mission program and all of it. I'm impressed.
That is wonderful, and we are very, of course, we are very happy for that. And as we are talking about the missionary, and you have been here, many missionaries that have been given their testimony about what is happening in the missions field, and we would like here maybe to give some advice to them about all the difficulties that they are passing through the missions fields. I know that as a pastor, you already have many experience also of the missions fields. So we would like you, if you can provide, especially to them, some advices in order to strengthen them and to follow the missions.
2 words.
Yes.
Stay focused. I don't know of any better advice. We could spend a lot of time, but stay focused on your calling and your mission. If you have questions, call your pastor.
Yeah.
Talk to Jesus. Pray. Rise up early and pray and study every day. Equip yourself. Stay focused.
Praise God.
Well taught.
Okay, so let us just maybe end with some final questions now. Just to end with some advice, especially for the youth, as you have some admiration, especially for the youth as us. So just as you say, principle, values, and focus, right? So, but do you have another word to say, especially for the youth?
Follow your leaders.
Amen.
As they follow Christ. Rise up early and pray.
Amen.
And stay focused.
That's what
Amen.
our leader always says to us.
It's so simple, isn't it? So all we need to do is apply it.
Right.
And it'll all work out. Yes, I don't know exactly why. I'm not one that goes around preaching a lot to the, particularly to the youth, but here the youth have blessed my heart. Numerous ones of them have come to me and said, Pastor, when you preached about throwing your heart across the line, I realized I had not done that, and I'm going to do it. So, okay, let's take our heart and go ahead and throw it across the finish line, youth. Listen to Pastor Turner. Youth, throw your heart across the finish line, and you will save yourself a lot of heartache. May God bless you.
Amen.
Amen.
Glory be to Jesus. So,
I just would like to thank you again, Pastor, for your availability and for everything. God is wonderful, and He has provided us this wonderful moment with you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank Pastor Umberto for the opportunity.
And I hope it's not the last time you come, first, but not the last. You're always invited to come to our church.
There will always be a place in my heart for this pastor and this church. And each one of you, when I say the church, I don't mean the building.
I know.
I mean the people. Brother Turner, what do you like most about Brazil? The people.
Great.
That's wonderful. Hallelujah.
Amen.
Amen.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, team.